My name's Jim Barino, and I'm coming at you with an interview with Viper. How are you doing, Viper?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So we're just gonna go ahead and talk about basically the future of esports for Illuvium. I just have a couple questions, and Viper's been there, done that, ex-Hearthstone pro. So one of the best esports player to ever exist. That's what I hear, anyways. Um,
Uh,
mm,
I don't know about that one.
no, it's all good. You're being modest. Just stole like 12K from Kieran, so GG on that one. How did that even
That was
happen
funny.
again?
There was pretty much like Kieran doing some of the crazy trivia with like tier one lands and Civitas shamans and Eve lizards, whatever, to people who get the questions right. As like crazy questions like which card contributor broke like some super specific bone in their hand being bitten by some animal in Australia. Like who knows that, right?
Mhm.
And Scrubber got two of them right, and there were 8 winners, and then the 8 winners go into like the next level round, and 5 out of the 8 play a TFT game with Kirim, Andrew, and Ben. And if somebody beats all 3 of them, they get a tier 3 land. So because Scrubber got me into this like second round because he got 2 right, he was like, okay, you can nominate somebody to play the second round for you, or
Mhm.
like as well, pretty much. Then I got that question right, and I played the TFT game. I win the TFT game, and Kieran is like double or nothing. I say yes. I win the second game, and Kieran is like, okay, like again, double or nothing. Or like he's like a plus minus one then. So if I win, it's like 3. If I lose, it's 1. And I just won all 3 games in a row.
Kira was like,
So
Eventually I'm gonna win one." It didn't happen. That's gonna be
yeah,
the worst.
he was like, okay, eventually he, Ben, or Andrew are gonna like win, or not even win, just like place higher than I do, but they didn't. So yeah,
Dude,
I don't know.
that's
Scrubber got me in, splitting with Scrubber for sure, and
yeah,
yeah, taking
shout out
12K from
Scrubba.
Kieran. That's good.
Dude, that's a good way to start the Illuvium experience.
True.
Um, let's go ahead and get into some of the esports questions. So, something I wasn't expecting was the amount of people that attended the event that I hosted, the Gembrino Invitational on last Saturday. We actually peaked around 45 viewers and had an average of like 20 viewers, even with like some of the video quality stuff that was going on. What do you think this says about the future of Illuvium and esports with it in private beta too? And people, and I was in the chat, people were engaged in it. They were like saying, "Oh, hashtag Daddy Shabim, let's go Viper," all these things. It was so funny to watch for such a new game. What's your perspective on that?
People are super engaged and into like everything in the whole Illuvium community, because I think everybody is pretty much here and has agreed on this vision that Illuvium is gonna be the next big game. They're doing like everything the games in the past did well. They do that well, and they do it better than them even, and then they do none of the things that people did wrong, like from obvious perspectives right now. So it just looks like it's gonna be a great game, and the community is so much into it and everybody believes in it that everybody is like trying to push it. Like there's so many people creating content, like really high quality content. It's not like, yeah, it's not like somebody just taking out the phone making some shitty quality video that's pixelated. Or like, I mean, you're sitting here with a suit, you made this super high production tournament pretty much, inviting casters and creating intros and videos, right? That is a lot of effort put into that. And Artemis is doing like all those YouTube shorts, TSG, Volk, and Vetomo, right? Everybody's doing like so much content because everybody believes in the game and the product. Besides, this is my content creator job, right? Everybody actually believes this is good, this will be good, and everybody wants to be part of this. I think that's why people are engaged in the esport, because people want to be part of this, that is going to be the next great thing. And I also think a lot of people are probably let down by various communities or whatever social circles lately in the world, in games and whatever else. So Illuvium is a really, really nice community, and I think it's very, very welcoming to a lot of people. So that's really, really happy. I like that a lot.
Yeah, speaking of like certain gaming companies letting us down as fans, as esports players, what are some of the major issues and problems you've seen with other gaming companies when it comes to esports specifically? You think Illuvium
Um,
could have but are avoidable?
no, I think the major issue that I believe most companies are running, because I feel like I'm usually more somebody that sees it from the company perspective, not from the player perspective. Like I'm not like somebody that's like bitching, they should give me all this for free, or they should make all these tournaments, or they should give. I'm like, no, I
Mhm.
like to me, I get it's a company, it's a business, esport is a marketing branding tool. You spend money, you get something back for your games, your community, whatever. It has to be worth it for you as a company. And I think that's where the issue in a lot of the really big companies kind of comes in because I mean, one thing is, how do I put that? Like Blizzard is a really really big company, right? And they have a stock market price, they have earnings they have to meet. They cannot just decide to spend a lot of money creating some new game and then it doesn't make revenue, right? They have to think of all these revenue streams and all these numbers, and none of the stakeholders or people sitting at the table, they probably don't give a shit about the games or the players or what they like or not. They just,
Yeah.
well, makes us the money, right? So you have to make a lot of short-term decisions because you need to meet those goals, which are probably um, like stupid or not long term for whatever reason. And I mean, I'm obviously more engaged in Blizzard. And like these are my theories for Blizzard, like why things happen in the way they happen. It's just, well, the recent battlegrounds thing, right? So how the Hearthstone auto battler, Hearthstone battlegrounds, they whenever you go into a game, you have two heroes to choose from. Pretty much like an augment in TFT gives you like a hero power that you can use every turn or something like that. And there's a battle pass that you can buy, and then you choose from four instead of two. And before you could spend time in the game to also get that. Now it's only paid. And a lot of people were really upset about that. And I was like, well, like to me, I think from the company perspective, they probably just didn't make any money off the game. So they have to do something to make the money, which upsets a lot of people. But well, if they don't make money, the game doesn't exist anymore. So I get the decision by the company. I get why people are upset, and I think that that is the dilemma a lot of these are running into. That you have to meet all the stakeholder targets. You cannot spend money on a new game. If you make a new game, maybe people don't buy your old game or play your old game anymore. And who knows what like internal struggles there are, who knows what dev is like high up and says I want to have it this way. Like we don't know any of that shit. And there's, I think, the big issue in those like established really really big companies, because somebody at the head makes a decision, right? And that is not the person that plays the game or programs the game or engages with the community or has a long-term vision. Like they, okay, meet the number for the next quarter. Number high, really good. Number not high, really
Mhm.
bad. You have to do something. And yeah, I think that is, I mean, especially in Hearthstone, I feel like run into that a lot where they probably just had to meet a lot of short term goals. And by that, they kind of like fucked up the long term of it. And we kind of see that right now. I mean, look on the Twitch view numbers. I checked that when I wrote something about it earlier and was like, Hudson 2018 was like 50k average view game on Twitch. I think nowadays it's probably like a 20k, and it's split in two game modes as well because the auto battle and the normal game are the same. So it's like
Mhm.
it is really bad at this point. But then we look at the esport, for example. Well, the Hearthstone esport was sold out, like broadcasting rights sold out to YouTube, for example, from Twitch. So the company probably got a good payout for that. Like they just sold out the broadcasting rights,
Yeah.
and well, the money didn't go back into the esport or anything related like that, because the company probably thinks, well, we sold those rights out, we did the job, we made the money. Now we can move on to the next game, the next product, maybe. And I think that is what is happening in a lot of those games currently, that the companies kind of cash out and they move on to the next thing. And that is also a good timing for Illuvium, in my opinion, because Illuvium kind of comes in at the moment where those companies want to cash out and make shitty products pretty much. And they build behind the scenes, which takes them 5 to 10 years to yeah, get something new good to the market. And I think 10 years in the future is too slow. I think you need something good right now. I was sorry, really wordy answer.
No, that was actually not what I was expecting. That's a good, that's a good perspective. I think a lot of the time players don't see it from the company's perspective like they should. Like and I'm not one of those people. I actually get people mad a lot because I'm always playing devil's advocate. But if you don't do that, you don't see the other perspective and why these situations are happening and why certain decisions are made. Like these companies are, at the end of the day, they're companies. They have to make money, but there's also a fine line where you have to balance okay, this needs to be a good esport, this has to make us
Mm,
money. Good esport is going to be a long-term decision, and as you said, you don't want to keep making those short-term decisions so that the game just dies. I mean, as you said with the Hearthstone, where they were like, "Oh, we've made our money, we're out." Obviously, that's kind of sad because they don't. If that's your mentality, you know that this game's not good enough to last for another 5, 10 years, and yeah, it's that should never be a company that thinks that their game is going to be sticking around esport in
Yeah, yeah.
general.
I mean, Blizzard is a very special example as well, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of behind the scenes things that we don't know about because there was I mean there were like a lot of PR disasters and lawsuits and whatever coming. It probably didn't happen overnight, so they probably knew
Hmm.
beforehand something bad is going to happen. So they were like, okay, we are cashing out now and we're not investing because we don't know how bad this is going to get. That's like another conspiracy theory I would have there. Then there's the Microsoft buyout as well. So maybe it's like, okay, we need to keep the stock market price as high as possible. So we have to maximize the earnings. We cut all the expenses and whatever. So we get the high buyout price. And after that, we look forward, right? So I think Blizzard is one of the biggest gaming companies, right? And they had all of those things happening at the same time. There's like pretty much like make the stock market price as high as possible, which I think is what led to a lot of those short-term cash out decisions. Also, I think like one thing people forget a lot of the times is like if you don't like a game or the way a game is, maybe somebody else does. Because if the game makes a lot
Hmm.
of money, then people obviously like it. It's like the
For sure.
Diablo Immortal kind of thing, right? Where I see like in the Western world so much complaining about also you spend like 100 grand on your mobile games. Like, yeah, but people in China, Japan, whatever, they really like that. You have a lot of them spend like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on those games. So I feel like it's cool if a company makes that game. It's just like not for you, not for everybody, but some people are really happy with it. And I feel like we forget that a lot of the times that there's some game for everybody and like you're not forced to play something. Somebody makes a shitty update or you can just quit the game. Like it is shitty, right? You maybe you have to
Hmm.
quit a game that you liked or you looked forward to, but it's like, well, it's not for you. But if other people are happy with it, then well, other people are happy. If everybody's unhappy, then it's just a shit game, right? But I
Yeah,
feel like if they're successful, it's fine.
and I was about to say just what you said there at the end, like, sometimes shit decisions are just shit decisions. It just is what
Yeah.
it is, but a lot of the times, these companies, they've been around, like, they know what they're doing for for the most
Yeah.
part. Sometimes we have actually, cut that whole point, but you know what I'm saying, like, sometimes these companies know what they're doing,
Yeah,
and
like
they have to do
they
what
have
they
a
have to do.
purpose.
Exactly. Another thing that I'm interested in, we heard like what are the major issues that Illuvium could fall into, but what are you looking forward to most when it comes to the future of Illuvium in esports specifically?
I really, really like that Illuvium has this incredibly fair player mentality that everybody has like everybody's pretty much able to play, able to compete. It's not gonna have the highest barrier of entry, and everybody like starts at the same level. Which is, to me, for example, I used to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. From like I don't know, being I think I played tournaments ever since I was like 8, 9 years old in that game, pretty much. And okay, that's like the one thing, physical card game, but you need to own the cards and they cost some money and whatever. Okay, that part out of the game, but it's a physical game and people are cheating a lot. It is incredibly common that somebody is like misrepresenting some card effect, which a lot of times is really, really complicated and difficult. And you can cheat a lot against, especially new players or players who are not like the top 1% players and whatever.
Mhm.
Or you do like sleight of hand tricks, whatever. Like there's incredibly amount of cheating in that game. And when I went from that to Hearthstone, for example, I was like, dude, this is so relaxing that I don't have to pay attention to sleight of hand bullshit or that I have to read every single card like 100 times and pay attention to every keyword so my opponent is not pulling off something it's not supposed to be doing. And yeah, really, that was the mentality that got me into Hearthstone, like digital games in general, because nobody can cheat. Like
Yeah.
cheating and hacking is not really a thing. Like, sure, there's some FPS games where you can like aimbot and whatever, but it's like in those strategy games, whatever, it's just not. On the mobile games and League of Legends, whatever, you cannot cheat. And I really, really liked it and I enjoyed that. And I mean, that was one of the things that really made me want to compete because I was like, okay, I can just be good here and I can be good on a fair playing field. And I also felt always like personally, I don't know, like school and all of those other like credentialed systems, I felt like, man, my teacher doesn't like me, I'm fucked. Or stuff like that. I was like, damn, yeah, I have the same chance. Everybody has the same chance. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life. Like nothing matters. Everybody's same playing field competes, and the best player may win, right? So I really, really like the mentality, and that is the Williams mentality. So I think that that is gonna be really, really great as a like setup for esport, pretty much.
That's a good answer too. I was thinking for me personally, I'm just excited to start going to the events. Hopefully, they're not like in
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
I don't wanna pay thousands of dollars to go and meet up with everybody, but dude, I wanna
yeah.
be like, the community's so bad, like, everybody's so cool, it would be nice to just have a drink with them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is what I love so much about like playing Yu-Gi-Oh and shit. There's like some regional tournament every weekend somewhere you go to, and then there are like bigger ones every 1 to 2 months, and then the same thing was in Hearthstone, like traveling around the world, meeting people, doing shit. Like that is such a cool part of it. Yeah, please don't make too much in Australia. It's like the furthest away from me.
Yeah, please, at least Europe. Europe is affordable. It's not cheap, but it's affordable. So,
Yeah.
anyways, getting away from like the future of Illuvium and esports, because a lot of it's speculation. Let's worry about the here and now. During the Gimbrino Invitational, you received second place going into that final round that most of the viewers thought you were sure to win. And not only that, I'm not trying to rub this in, but you died on 31 when you made it to 33 the previous run. What problems occurred during the final round that kept you from receiving the win? And what are you going to do in the upcoming Polemos tournament to prevent that from happening again?
I mean, pretty much the same thing that happens like a lot when I redo runs on the same day, where I feel like I find something else that is better than what I did before. And I'm like convinced this should be better. This has to be better. And then I just do the other thing slightly different. It's like, well, it wasn't better in the end. And I mean, this happened there as well. I probably like mess up some positioning and other stuff, but I was like, damn, I have like this Mystic and Enchanter and Kukulus, and I don't have anyone to put Saccharine on, so it will cast. And I thought like, okay, this has to make a lot of sense, but it just didn't work out. So I just messed that up. Should have just played the same strategy. Probably I don't know, look at my VOD or screenshots or just memorize it better or whatever. Just repeat the same thing. But I also thought that I wanted to beat like one additional wave or like more than I did before. Um, so I thought like, okay, let's change something for this to be better. And yeah, I don't know. It just happens. That's also why I don't like this current tournament-ish format because I don't know. It's like the decks are kind of limited. A lot of the times, the decks offer like one clear late game path, and maybe there's one or two units different, but they don't matter too much because they don't have augments on, or they don't offer much utility. And if they don't have augments, they probably don't cast an ability or whatever. Anyways, everybody's kind of doing the same thing, so it just comes down to some like slight positioning things, or yeah, just like things that are really difficult to anticipate. So it's like the thing of there's some variance to it because obviously people can know that, but it's like on this humanly very difficult part of you should be aware of this, you should know all of this, and yeah, I feel like that is just really really difficult in the current thing.
Honestly, the way I see it is, and I hate to say this because there's other tournaments coming up, probably some that I'll be a part of, but I'm curious on your opinion on if that first tournament, there was like a decent buzz around it, and because I did it, but no, it's because it was the first tournament. And with this kind of setup with tournaments, we're kind of forced to kind of be a little scuffed with how we set them up and stuff. It's just really hard to put together any kind of real um, sense of urgency or storyline when it's not like 1v1 PvP, or if there's not like set waves that are completely different from the waves that we have in the day already. I feel like when PvP gets together, it's gonna be way easier, but I feel like numbers people are gonna be super interested here in the first month probably, maybe even just the first few weeks, and then I feel like viewership for tournaments like this, if they even get put on, are just gonna keep going down, down, and down until no one watches, and then when PvP comes, I feel like that's when viewership could actually start to increase over time. What's your opinion on that?
PvP is pretty much the infinite replayability of a game, right? It's like, and Illuvium's base idea is that it's more deterministic, right? More that there's less like crazy RNG high roll things happening. I mean, that's a good example. I mean, we talk a lot about TFT because we say Illuvium is an auto battler. I kind of disagree with that. I feel like Illuvium is closer to card games because it's way more strategy based, and you have to do some fast actions with your shops and like the auto battler games, like every game is different because different shops, different enemies, battle royale, all that crap. And the Illuvium is 1v1, like super strategy based game. I know my cards, I see my opponent's cards, I make all those like very strategy based decisions. And I think PvP just gives the infinite replayability because like I know my stuff, I see my opponent's stuff, I can try to think, okay, my opponent has all of these options, I have all of these options. what is my best path to win? What do I know about my opponent? Maybe even like, do I know my opponent likes to play some special tech, or likes to play empaths, or likes to play the rogues, or chooses some different augment stats or whatever. Like, does like the strict like go to whatever website, does the rank one meta comp, or do they do something different? And it's just this game of information and outplaying the other opponent and so on. And I feel like if one party wins, then the losing party will be like, okay, what can I do better to improve next time? And then it goes back and forth, back and forth. And even the person that's winning is like, okay, how will the guy counter me next time? Because I probably don't win with the same thing twice. And that reminds me a lot on these games like chess and Go and whatever, where you kind of have perfect information and you just make decisions based on what you expect your opponent to do, or what you think is going to work and whatever. And yeah, it just goes into that direction, which I think is pretty much like infinite replayability. Like, it's not going to be boring at some point, because you can always play against other people. You can always get better. There's always maybe something new to test out and to do. And the only issue you could run into is if there's like a one unbeatable team or something, and you just play like, do I choose like A, B, or C? I think there needs to be like an option D or E or whatever that counters one of the others, and then you play like a more advanced game. But the way the Illuvium looks like currently, with all the Illuvius and everything, I believe that will be the case. Hopefully, I think that is kind of missing in the current private beta too as well, because like, to me, all the melee carries are really weak late game. But they are really weak late game because we play PvE, and at some point our enemy board is like 500 mastery points stronger than our board, and the melee carries just cannot beat that, because they die to AoE effects. They just die to too much random crap, and there are too many enemy units. Like, I don't know, like in a normal game, you probably have a limited amount of units, and you can body block your melee carry to walk to the backline. Like, you can do really cool positioning things, but if there's 5 bulwark front line, 5 empath between it, and 5 damage, it's like, well, my melee carry can hit this one unit one time, and yeah, that's it's not gonna cut it, right? So you're like very limited in like how you carry and win the games right now, which is probably more of the like thing that can make it boring than anything else.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people need to realize with balancing is it's hard to balance a game when it's not even out. I
Yeah,
understand
and
we
and
have
it's not even a game what is supposed to be balanced around, right? It's supposed to be balanced around PvP.
exactly. So when people talk about these certain alluvials being super overpowered, just realize they barely know how PvP is going to work. Like I know they have like a skeleton worked out, but like when you add in another player and it's not just you playing against a computer, it's a whole different animal. Like they will be reacting to what you do, you will be reacting to what they do. This might it's hard to realize when you are just playing against a computer, but that's literally gonna completely change how the meta works. Certain alluvials that that are terrible in the, PvE is gonna be destroying PvP. They're completely different games. It just is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Alright, well, that's all I have for you, Viper. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, sir. I will
Yeah.
have the links to his socials down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and, is there anything else you wanna say, Viper?
No, I just appreciate being here, and I mean, this is what I referred to earlier, right? It's such a cool community, and so many people that actually want to build something and work together, and everybody is like super friendly, and everybody it's like a Web3 community, and everybody has this like startup mentality of they want to just do a lot of shit and accomplish a lot of shit, and everybody is really really cool. I really love to be part of this.
Yep, I'm so excited for it. All right, see you and see everybody. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.